Dorset Council's Cabinet Member for Planning has told Melbury, Abbas and Cann Parish Council that if rural communities want better bus services, parish councils could consider putting up their council tax, clubbing together with neighbouring parishes and running their own. Dorset Council's been hard done by in government funding for rural bus services. Back in 2021, the Conservative Authority submitted a huge funding request to the then Tory government under the Bus Back Better scheme, requesting £92 million and didn't get a penny. But neighbouring Bournemouth, Christchurch and Poole got £9 million and Somerset 12. Devon also did well. In the latest government funding for 25 to 26, Dorset Council has been given just over £3 million, but again less than Devon's £10 million or £13 million for Hampshire. Recently, the local transport plans opened up a consultation debate about rural bus provision. Shane Bartlett told the Parish Council meeting in Melbury that the local service isn't good enough.
The public transport system has been so dire for so many decades. We've now got a population within Dorset that are used to getting in cars and travelling from A to B. To change the mindset to get people out of their cars onto public transport now is a really difficult one.
Parish Councillor Jenny Weston said limited timetables make the buses unusable for many village residents.
A bus that runs at 9 o'clock in the morning and 5 o'clock in the afternoon, that's no good for Joe Public.
Recently, we featured the success of Wiltshire Council's dial-a-ride Wiltshire Connect service that operates from the villages adjacent to Shaftesbury, including the Donhead, Semley and Sedgehill to Shaftesbury or other Wiltshire destinations. People call up and ride on demand, and it's proving popular. But Shane Bartlett says for that to happen in rural Dorset, parish councils will have to dip into the money they raise from the council tax from their parishioners.
Unpopular it may be in this room, but my view is that parish councils need to group together, raise the precept and provide a rural bus service themselves, because Dorset Council is not going to be able to do it, and the bus companies will not run a service into the rurality unless they can see pound notes, which is a disappointing thing.
Well, speaking at the Dorset COP climate event in Sturminster Newton on the 1st of November, Dorset Councillor for Shaftesbury, Derek Beer, who's passionate about public transport as a non-driver and member of the North Dorset Transport Action Group, offered a reality check. He said communities like Bedchester, Melbury and Margaret Marsh are unlikely to ever get a bus route.
Some of those villages will never ever have a bus service. You can do it from Falkmore, you can go up to Shaftesbury and change. It's a bit of a pain. Living in rural Dorset, we're never going to have a taxi service of buses like you get in Nottingham and Manchester, whatever.
But the Wiltshire experience with the Wiltshire Connect dial-a-ride service is different. Residents of Eastnoil, Sedgehill and Semley can take buses to Shaftesbury and Warminster on demand. They use an app, they book the bus and know exactly when it's going to pick them up. Derek told the COP conference in 10 years' time he hopes there will be more community transport in Dorset, but wasn't specific about the form it might take across the county border.
Community transport hopefully will be better. The interchanges will be more straightforward, and people will rely on those, the community transport, to get to trunk core routes, and core routes that will be a credible alternative to the car, that will get people to college within an hour or less, and will be a credible alternative to get to work.
Derek says his goal is to get better and more regular bus services on the main arterial routes around the county and to encourage residents to use those services. He wants a position where passengers will have to change, but they know there will be a connection available and they won't be stranded.
If you live in Bourton, you've got to change buses about 3 times to get to the south of Dorset, and people just don't like that. So my ambition is to have north-south journeys that people can just sit back and relax and go and not be frightened off with that big C word, which is change, because that really worries people. The whole perception, the whole understanding of it has got to be better, that changes do work. You haven't got to be frightened about it. When you get off, you know the other one's going to come, and where possible, get rid of all these stupid little journeys that don't mean very much to people and make them a credible alternative to car.
Derek Beer says public transport infrastructure planning is vital. We're expected to see significant housing development across Dorset in the next few years, and they need to put the bus routes in and make sure transport's available from day one, so new residents get used to the availability of buses, not wait until people move there, make decisions about how they need to get from A to B, and then introduce a bus service that nobody's expecting or needs.
The point we made quite strongly was when new developments come, don't put the transport alternatives in 8 years later like happened in Shaftesbury, but do it from day one like they do in Devon. You put up the infrastructure, you put up the community hall, you build the houses and you put the alternatives in straight away so people know what college courses they could get. It's not the planet's fault that I don't have a car, and I don't expect everyone to bend over backwards for me, but there are alternatives there and we've got to make them better.
And Derek says he's pleased to have pushed for the reinstatement of the bus service from Shaftesbury to Gillingham and Gillingham to Sturminster Newton on Saturdays. The Saturday run had been axed in 2023. He says it meant locals from Shaftesbury could get to the Exchange in Stir for the COP convention, and if there's a major vaccination programme at the Exchange arranged by the Blackmore Vale GP practice, again public transport could be an option.
But at least it is possible to do it now, and we're not depending on Shaftesbury Carlink, for instance, to get 140 people down there for their flu jabs. They can come by bus now, and that's one of the reasons we put it in, was because of that. You need to get from Shaftesbury down here. It does work. You might have to go for a coffee afterwards because it won't be a bus straight away, but there's not many chimney pots between here and Shaftesbury, so there's not going to be an awful lot of people doing it. It's not going to be profitable, but at least it's there. You can have your flu jab and you can get a coffee and maybe do a bit of shopping and look around Stir and then get home.
And bus provision was discussed in the October Motcombe Parish Council meeting. Parish Council Chairman Liam Stacey had held a meeting with Derek Beer. Liam accepted that compared with some other North Dorset communities, Motcombe's Monday to Saturday service was reasonable.
Motcombe's, as villages go, is quite blessed with the bus services.
Liam says Derek wants more riders in the village.
But obviously wants to do everything he can to encourage bus use within Motcombe and in Dorset.
Derek wants Motcombe Parish Council to write to Dorset Council to say how much they value their bus service. And Derek's keen to improve the passenger experience in Motcombe by making highway changes. Currently, the Shaftesbury to Motcombe to Gillingham bus turns around at Elm Hill. Everybody has to get off because of regulations. As the bus is reversing, the bus can't go around the circle to reverse its direction. The sweep isn't wide enough under the current road layout.
One of his suggestions is it is an ongoing problem for many, many years. The bus, when it comes to into the Motcombe, has to turn or reverse into Elm Close. Not many bus companies like reversing. It's actually an offence to reverse a bus with passengers on board. They technically all need to be disembarked. It is actually on the timetable to reverse, and so it's been given special dispensation on that particular route to have a reversing manoeuvre, but it is quite tight there. So a member of the highway team came out as well, and they were hoping that that junction can be improved. So I don't know if the bus can maybe take a sweep round, or certainly not have the island maybe in the middle of Elm Hill that makes life difficult for the bus.
Derek's hoping for support for that from Motcombe Parish Council, but he's not after money.
He's not actually asking for Motcombe Parish Council to financially support it, but he would like us to support it in terms of lobbying Dorset Council and trying to emphasise how we also value the importance of a bus service in the village.
Liam said he'd been told there were more riders on the Saturday service and locals did value the routes to Gillingham and Shaftesbury.
If you are one of the few people that do use the bus and it goes, it's a disaster. For a few members of the community, it's an absolute lifeline and brings them to get to the train station, etc.
But there was some debate and uncertainty about Derek's second bus-based proposal for Motcombe Parish Council, which would keep passengers dry.
Motcombe doesn't have any bus shelters at the moment, and he would like to see, again with the support of Dorset Council, a bus shelter, again at Elm Hill, which my only concern was I wanted the details of the loading figures from the ticket machine, which would give us where do most people catch the bus.
Liam says the operator should know.
South West Coaches should be able to provide us with that information, so logically we put the bus shelter where most people catch it. To keep them dry and out of the wind.
But there are restrictions.
There's certain areas of Motcombe just simply can't have a bus shelter because the road's too narrow and it can't go on the pavement. So it looks like Elm Hill would get the bus shelter as well.
Councillor Janet Odell wanted to know where at Elm Hill a bus shelter could be positioned.
There's a wooden seat, not like necessarily remove the seat, but in that neck of the woods, there's a lot of grass area there, isn't there?
But when they turn the bus, if you're going up the hill, they turn it in the first bit. So if you're then having the bus shelter on the second bit of the loop, anybody getting on the bus has then got to cross two roads and either go in front or behind of the bus, which, and given that the majority of people I would suggest to catch the bus up there were children,
the bus shelter's near the seat. As the bus reverses in, the door will be nearly adjacent to the bus shelter. I think the idea is that this is going to be like a package, a collective thing. So they remove the island that's there at the moment. They've got like a grass island.
In the middle of the actual hall.
They've got a really big